am Jason Ellis, and this is TechAvail News. As you can see, it's raining out, it's daylight savings time, so hopefully you're all awake and getting ready for the day. But in the meantime, here are your top news stories from over the weekend to know going to today's workday. Early morning today, the Oscar nominations have been announced. I'm not going to go through the whole list. You could check that out, but here are the top 10 best pictures at least. It is The Father, Judas and the Black Messiah, Mank, Minari, Nomadland, Promising Young Woman, Sound of Metal, and The Trial of Chicago 7. Mank is taking away the most nominations at 10, but this actually had a lot of fantastic first. Nomadland's Chloe Zhao is making history as the first woman of color to be nominated for Best Director. She's also nominated for Best Adapted Screenplay, and Nomadland has announced, for Best Picture, but also for editing. So Chloe Zhao could realistically take away 4 wins on Oscar night. Another first is Steven Yeun, who's an awesome actor, but he is now the first Asian American to get nominated for Best Actor in a Motion Picture. So fantastic for him. He's been around for a good amount of time and keeps on doing better and better projects. And I'll say Minari is doing a great thing for him. And on top of another first, Riz Ahmed is the first Muslim actor to be nominated for a Best Actor in a Motion Picture as well for his work on Sound of Metal. So pretty great to see diversity and representation coming through in these nominations this year. A fun and interesting nomination. Glenn Close is nominated for her work on Hillbilly Elegy, but is also receiving a Razzie nomination for the exact same role. So read into that however you want, but it happened. The Oscar ceremony is going to be live on ABC April 25th. So we'll see if any of these first nominations get some wins, but great to see a diversity focus a little bit more this year and a lot more representation. The Grammys did happen last night. Yes, that's industry adjacent, so I'm just going to touch upon it very quickly. Primarily how women almost practically swept the entire night, specifically Beyonce nabbing her 28th Grammy win, which is now making her the most of any singer or female artist to get these nominations, tying with Quincy Jones. So Queen Bee herself continuing her presence, and rightly so. She's fantastic. And then Taylor Swift is now has won Album of the Year for the 3rd time in a row for Folklore. So pretty great to see, Beyonce and Taylor Swift keeping the onslaught. I know Megan Thee Stallion also won, Marissa Lambert won, Dua Lipa won. Harry Styles was the only one who the male upset, I will say. But, 5 women, 5 wins, top wins. So really cool to see the Grammys and women making a voice for themselves and really taking a lot of wins from last night. Today is the day that movie theaters in Los Angeles will start reopening. It's not going to be the full onslaught of every theater, but a starting rollout. AMC, Cinemark, all of them have announced that they are going to start opening up today. This comes from the announcement last week of Los Angeles hitting the 2 million vaccine milestone, which is fantastic. Indoor dining and gyms will also start to reopen. That said, safety precautions will, of course, be going. It's going to be minimal seating, 6 feet apart. I'm personally not ready to go back to a movie theater, but I think it's a great stepping forward, especially for our box office, to see how a major metropolitan like Los Angeles reopening movie theaters will affect what will happen this weekend in movie releases. And we'll see if any studios start to restructure their release dates now that theaters are starting to come back, now that vaccine rollout is becoming much more predominant. So good to see, but we'll see how this affects the business as a whole. In attachment news, R.L. Stein's TV series Just Beyond, that's in the works at Disney Plus, has brought on Mark Webb to direct. Obviously, everyone knows him from his Spider-Man days, but Mark Webb is having a great resurgence, and this project lends itself to a very great cinematic world. He is joining Seth Grahame-Smith, who is executive producing, show running, putting this whole thing together. It's already in production. It's an 8-episode order for Disney Plus. So I loved Goosebumps growing up. I think this is going to have a very similar vibe to it. Not too scary, still silly, spooky, but Mark Webb, I think, will bring in a really fun touch to it. Reuniting Berlanti Productions and Kaylee Cuoco. Cuoco has signed on to play the famous actress Doris Day. She is the, pinnacle girl next door. This is going to be a limited series that Kaylee Cuoco will executive produce, along with Greg Berlanti, Sarah Schechter, and David Madden. All four also EP'd and created The Flight Attendant for HBO Max. So a good partnership forming there. This is for Warner Brothers TV. No home announced for it, but it's just in early days. But I actually think Cuoco could do a very good job at Doris Day. They actually have very similar facial features. So we'll see what happens, but pretty cool attachment. The School for Good and Evil just keeps on announcing attachments. Already announced is Charlize Theron, Kerry Washington, Sophia Ann Caruso, and Sophia Wiley, with Paul Feig directing. This is starting to come out to be a really great project, and so the new announcements of Michelle Yeoh and Lawrence Fishburne coming on board just makes this project even richer. I think it's great that our young leads are relative unknowns. I love that. I think this is the way you do cast correctly, going, let's get some new young actresses involved and bring on established name talent on top of it. So I think the School for Good and Evil is doing a very great job in the casting front. The Sex Lives of College Girls has announced 6 more series regulars to join the Mindy Kaling and Justin Noble project. Midori Francis, Gavin Leatherwood, Christopher Meyer, Ilya Izzarelli's Paulino, Lauren Spencer, and Renika Williams. This is the HBO Max comedy series. Mindy Kaling lending her voice. Justin Noble wrote it. It's going to be a very funny series. Female activist forward. So cool to see these announcements come out. These are the top headlines for today going into your workday. Stay dry, wake up. It's going to be a tough one today, but keep at it. I am Jason Ellis. Please make sure to like and subscribe. I love doing this, and hopefully more to come. I'll see you tomorrow morning.